everybody. Welcome to the Buckeye Weekly Podcast. I am Tony Gerdeman, here as always with Tom Orr. Tom, how's it going?
Tony, I loved the suggestion from one of our listeners that the gap between shows was not caused by anything external. It was just a power pause for the entire Buckeye Weekly podcast feed. I like that a lot. I think that's what we're going to go with. That's what it was. Yes.
Yeah, a likely story that we could go with, or we could eventually just get into the whole thing. But yeah, we are back. I apologize on behalf of the show for our being missing for a while. I little chest cold has kept me from being able to record as often as Tom would like. Tom is always like, we need to go, we need to go, we need to go. And I'm like, I'm sleeping. So that is why Tom is in Indianapolis right now at the Big Ten Media Days. And I am here awakened from my nap to let you guys know that we are back. And if you have unsubscribed for whatever reason, please resubscribe, because we have not gone anywhere, even though we were away for quite a bit. And so now I guess we should talk about where we are. And where we are is buckeyehuddle.com. That's where you can find us. That is where Tom is producing some videos from Big Ten Media Day right now that you can find on YouTube. If you search Buckeye Huddle on YouTube, you'll find the channel there. And please subscribe to that as well. We need your help there to build those subscriber numbers up. And obviously, if you're watching this, boom, go ahead and hit that bell, subscribe, get notified when we drop all kinds of videos, which will be happening on Wednesday as Ohio State sets their their day at Big Ten Media Days with Ryan Day, CJ Stroud, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Ronnie Rocket Hickman all set to talk. So Tom, I guess since I have talked for a long time and you are doing okay, we've established that. What tell us who is at Buckeye Huddle for everybody else to get excited about and to appreciate.
All right. So first of all, I will apologize for the quality of my audio. I'm using my normal microphone, but for some reason, when that microphone leaves the sanctuary of my room where I record stuff at home, as soon as I get in a hotel room, it sounds like I'm recording in like a cathedral or something. So sorry, that's my fault for being in Indianapolis. Yes. So as far as Buckeye Huddle goes, first of all, if you go to buckeyehuddle.com right now, you're going to get a landing page because the site itself is not quite built yet. It will be built in the near term, days, not weeks, but it's not there yet. So you can, if you check out either of our Twitter feeds, you will find links to a message board, which is, sort of step one of the whole process. Right now, that's entirely free. You don't need to put a credit card number in and then we tent our fingers and twirl our mustaches and you forget to unsubscribe before the free thing ends. We're not doing that nonsense. This is free. Sign up with an email address and you can be a part of the community right now on the message board. There's a lot going on there with Big Ten Media Days and all the other good stuff. And there's a lot of fun content posted because Tony, guess who's there? Tony Gerdeman, myself, Mark Givler, who you all know and love, great recruiting analyst Mark Givler, another great recruiting analyst, Alex Gleitman, who, again, you all know and love. Ross Fulton is there. And then we also have Justin from All 22 Breakdowns, All 22 Film Breakdowns, which is does a lot of the similar stuff to Ross, but does a lot of the X's and O's and scheme stuff. So you've got Tony and me covering the team. You've got Alex and Mark covering recruiting. You got Justin and Ross doing X's and O's. We may have another addition or two to the team coming in, in the coming days and weeks. Who's to say, Tony? Who's to say? But it is, presumably a lot of your favorites, from, previous sites, perhaps a lot of your favorites all gathered together in the same place, still working together. Guess what? We kind of like working together. We enjoy working together. We enjoy hanging out. We enjoy hanging out with you, being a part of the community. So that should be a lot of fun. We were very, very excited to be able to kind of get the band back together in a whole new place.
Yeah, and in addition to the X's and O's, is another addition, Devin Radcliffe, who is, you can find him on Twitter at Coach_Radcliffe. another X's and O's guy that him and Ross and Justin all go back and forth. So that's something that will be built upon more as we move forward. So you'll have, as Tom said, recruiting, you'll have team coverage with us. And then if you speak X's and O's, there will be people at the site that can speak your language. If you would like to learn more about speaking X's and O's, there are people at the site that can teach you. And there's something for everybody. And right now, register, go ahead and post. We're all there. Over 1,000 people registered in the first. I don't know. Are we even in the first 24 hours? Through
Yeah,
the first
close.
24 hours.
Yeah.
So the response has been awesome, and we thank you for that. I guess we should also thank everybody for the responses following the departure at the previous place. Can go ahead and address that elephant in the room for a bit before we get back to the present tense. But that was just amazing. I was blown away by the number of people who reached out, and even the day after, like waking up in the morning to my phone, like you can hear just like DMs and texts, and it's like just you can almost set your clock to it in terms of how often it was happening. And um usually when stuff like this happens to people, Tom, they will say it's humbling to have this many people reach out. I think it's the opposite of humbling. I have never felt more empowered, more powerful, more unreign-inable following something like that. So I am feeling muy machismo.
Even more unbearable than usual. I can't wait. Boy, what a great era we're heading into here. Yeah, it was genuinely touching to have emails and text messages and phone calls and Twitter DMs. And it's like I don't really do much on Instagram, and I'm getting Instagram DMs. Like, well, I didn't even know that was a thing. Like, it was really, really touching. And there were enough that I don't think I've actually managed to get back to everyone yet. And if I have not gotten back to you, I assure you, I read your message. I truly appreciate it. I think talking to others, I think everyone had kind of a similar experience. This was not, in fact, just a Tony thing. This turns out that there are just a lot of very nice, wonderful, and caring people out there on the Ohio State internet, which is super, super cool and truly appreciated, and was very uplifting during a not the greatest time. Um, Tony and I were both on vacation when all of that happened. I was on the online for the log flume ride, the Brer Rabbit, Brer Bear log flume ride at in the Magic Kingdom when I got the word. So that was fun. And yeah, so everyone had their own little their own fun way to find out. But yes, that was the magic of that moment. But yeah, it was super, super, super cool to have everyone reaching out like that, and showing support. And now a lot of those same folks seem to be popping up on the message board at Buckeye Huddle, which is pretty cool. There are some handles that I'm like, oh, I haven't seen him in a little while. And so a little bit of old home week is everyone sort of gathering in the new place, and really, really, really excited to get started there.
So, Tom, you asked me where was I when I found out. Um, you didn't ask me directly, but you meant to.
It was
Uh,
implied.
so, as you said, I was also on vacation. We do every 2 years we do a family reunion in the mountains or the beach. This year it was the mountains, and so I was staying in a house with, I don't know, 15, brother, sister, nephews, nieces, cousins, mom, and so saw a post on another message board that morning saying something might be coming down. And then later in the morning, I tried to log onto the message board and I couldn't. So I thought maybe something was afoot. And then later on, yes, it was a foot, it was a leg, and it was much more. And then you just have to go out, continue on with your vacation. I didn't, I told my wife, but didn't tell anybody else. Didn't want to ruin their vacations. Besides, I ruined too many vacations for people. You know, back when I was 6 years old, ruin family vacation by getting stung by a jellyfish. This is what I do for my family. So I just kept it to myself and went on and enjoyed my vacation because it is what it is, and we wouldn't be we weren't going to be gone long, and we're back. So here we are, and really, really ready to get started, ready to get back to all of the open practices that Ohio State's going to have, Tom, or at least the interviews and the interview sessions. Get back in the press box, really just get back to doing what we really enjoy doing, and what I think we do very well. And what also, Tom, we weren't ever really able to do in the 2 years at the previous stop because one, COVID, and then two, last year happens, the credentials get removed due to the actions of others for Ohio State. And so we never really got to do what we're really good at. And so now we will be getting back to that, and I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no question. I'm at Big Ten Media Days right now as we're recording this. Day one was on Tuesday. Day two was Wednesday. It is just, and I always feel like outside of hotel check-in day, I feel like media days is a thing I have to explain most to people. Like, why are you excited for this? Why are you looking forward to this again? And but it's just like, yeah, this is the job. Like sometimes you get to sit and just listen to Jim Harbaugh talk, and he talks for 48 minutes and 30 seconds and nothing happens. And then the last minute and a half is like, oh, that's news. And you get to hustle over and get that edited and posted to YouTube, and then get to do a podcast about it. And this is what we do. And I am truly looking forward to, like you said, like the last 2 years have really kind of not really been, we have not had the been able to sort of do the job fully for any consistent stretch over the last 2 years because of COVID first, and then all of the 2021 gestures vaguely, all that stuff. And so yes, to answer your question, yes, we are anticipating having credentials. We have no real concerns about having credentials, which means Tony will be able to cover. We'll be at press conferences. Tony will be covering in the press box. I'll be down in the field shooting photos. We have some exciting stuff planned. I think it's safe to say, without going into too many specifics. If you like hearing us talk about football, you're probably going to hear us talk about football a good amount on game days and all of that. And we are really, truly looking forward to it. So that's, I think the site has not launched yet, but the site is probably, it sounds like, like I said, days, not weeks, which is going to coincide pretty neatly with the start of Ohio State football camp, which is scheduled to happen, I think, sometime next week. And boy, didn't we plan this all out extremely well, that the site's going to launch right as fall camp opens. Tony, I don't want to say we're geniuses and plan this out perfectly, but I mean, what else? Are you trying to tell me that's just a coincidence? Come on.
I'm not going to say we're not geniuses. I would never do that. Yeah, and camp is like next week. I don't think Ohio State hasn't necessarily announced yet. Ryan Day will probably answer that question tomorrow. And then, it's going, and it basically is, I don't know, we almost go daily with the Buckeye Weekly. Interview sessions will be going boom, 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 boom. We'll be streaming all kinds of stuff. And then reactions and updates and all of the things that we enjoy doing, that the grounds crew at Ohio State enjoys interrupting. All of these things that everybody just it becomes part of your daily experience. We're looking forward to getting back to that. Tom, I do want to pause for 1 second and give you a name.
I saw someone on Twitter telling you needed to do this, and I thought, I need to study the names. And guess, Tony, you'll never guess what I didn't do. Study the names.
Yes, you'll never guess what I didn't do it, and I just pulled it up right now just to while you were talking. Here's one for you, Tom. And here's the game in case you're new to this. I give Tom a name of a random Buckeye, generally old timey, and he has to get within 3 years either way of his playing career.
I believe you said 17 years. Is that not it? No.
No, between 17 and 34 years. No, within 3 years, either way. Tom, this one's going to be a tough one because you only played 1 year. So I feel bad for you on this one. Raleigh J. Carver. Raleigh J. Carver.
Raleigh J. Carver. That doesn't sound too old timey, maybe. And maybe this is Raleigh Fingers, kind of.
It's Raleigh with a Y. Does that change things for you?
Is that Rolly? Rolly?
I mean, it's a double L. It's got to be Raleigh.
Tony, how are you expecting me to get this year right if you can't even pronounce the guy's first name? Come on. Raleigh Fingers, he was a relief pitcher in the 1970s.
Raleigh J. Carver, Tom.
Raleigh
I think
J.
the
Carver.
time limit has
19.
Right, that's correct.
27.
Sorry, 1904. But
Ooh.
You know what? Enjoy your lovely parting gifts, or parting gifts. It was a nice try.
I was between 17 and 34 years off, so I feel like I should get some bonus points for that.
So good job. I hope the one person who requested that appreciated that. We did that for you. So Tom, you were at Big Ten Media Days on Tuesday. I again was not, and I hate not being there because it's just part of the job and it's the start of the season. But if I'm going to miss a day, and well, I'm going to miss both days, but there wasn't a lot that was laid out there on Tuesday until we finally get a little bit of something from Jim Harbaugh. And you never know what you're going to get. You just expect that you don't get anything from him. And it's just depends on how he gives you, the little he gives you. It will, that determines if you get anything. And I guess he kind of, explained, he was asked if he hates Ryan Day.
Yeah, he was asked at the very end. He was there. He showed up about 10 minutes late. So we only had 50 minutes with him instead of an hour. And he was asked at the very end, 48 minutes into the 50 minutes, he was asked, what's your relationship with Ryan Day right now? And he just sort of said, like, when we see each other at the Heisman or something, it's fine and we can be cordial. And then, when we see each other on the field, we want to beat each other. But, he kind of was, talking about someone the way you talk about them when you don't want to say, I hate that guy. And then he was asked to follow up, when you talked about the third base thing, being born on third base last year, was that about Ryan Day? And he paused and he said no comment. And then he paused and he smiled and he tapped the table like John Tortorella and walked away. It was like, boy, that's the way to make an exit.
Yeah, that was Doug Lesmerises, Cleveland.com, asking that. And I like that he went back at him and, and got some more clarification on their relationship. And that was that was a non-denial confirmation. Is that is that the best way to term that? Because
if the answer is no, you just say no.
And this was clearly, and the smile, the smirk, that's all going to, now to be a topic of conversation for Ryan Day tomorrow. And this is why we love the Big Ten Media Days and the back and forth. And last year it was Jim Harbaugh, they're going to beat Ohio State or die trying, something to that effect. And so you get something good every year. Sometimes you have to work for it. Sometimes you have to wait for it. But I am interested to see how Ryan Day responds tomorrow. And it's going to be, whatever. We're professionals. Obviously, you don't want to lose to that team. And it's not about the coaches. It's about the programs, that sort of thing. But yeah, I don't buy any of that because it's also very much about the coaches.
Yeah, I mean, I think I talked about this on the morning show for Wednesday. I had Marcus Hartman from the Dayton Daily News on, and we talked about that a little bit, and the fact that there's a level of spice back in the rivalry that really was kind of missing for a while. I think you went a bunch of years where Ohio State fans just sort of went, well, they're going to beat Michigan because that's what they do every year, and then it stopped feeling special. It stopped feeling notable. at some point, if you haven't lost in a decade and you've only lost once in the last 17 years or whatever it was, it's natural to sort of lose some of the hate that perhaps was there in previous eras when these teams are just ruining each other's seasons over and over and over again. And it feels like there's some spice back in that rivalry now. And I think all the people who wanted to tell you that fill in the blank has surpassed Ohio State Michigan as the biggest rivalry or as Ohio State's biggest rival or whatever. I don't think that's going to be a concern. I think there might be a little bit of extra zestiness around the rivalry this year. Cade McNamara was asked about, had he been to Ohio Stadium before? And he said, well, like in 7th grade, he'd been to Ohio Stadium, just like kind of stopped by just to see it. And, he was asked, what he been told about it? What are you expecting when you go down there? And he just, basically said, it should be pretty electric and a lot of red and, really, really looking forward to it. It feels like that's going to feel like the, early 2000s kind of Ohio State Michigan game where there's a lot on the line. The series is a little bit more even. Michigan has ruined an Ohio State season recently. Ohio State has ruined a Michigan season recently. Everyone kind of remembers and doesn't want to have that feeling in their chest for the next 365 days. So yeah, I think that's going to be, Tony, here's my bold prediction. I think the Ohio State Michigan game might get a little feisty this year. That is my bold prediction for 2022.
Let me jot that down, you crazy devil. Yeah, I see people on Twitter saying like if Ohio State loses this, Ryan Day should be on the hot seat. And to me, that kind of reaction is still all about the entitlement, like, no, we're supposed to win this every year. What the realization needs to be is like you're not supposed to win it every year. And sometimes you will lose it 2 years in a row. And I don't expect Ohio State to have that happen, but if you do lose it 2 years in a row, it's healthy for rivalries. Now, I've never been one of those people that said, well, Ohio State needs to lose one, or that no. You win every single rivalry game you can, but when you lose some, that keeps the fan base from feeling like they are entitled to every single victory. And then when you, it's almost, Tom, I'm playing this in my mind right now. Uh, You know, I'm on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok. I look at TikTok, and half of my TikTok videos are like, just Karen videos. Ohio State fans are going to be Karen like with this Michigan thing. Like if they lose another Michigan game, they're going to be out in the streets, wanting to see Ryan Day's manager and calling the police and doing all of these different things. Meanwhile, it's like it's a rivalry game. It should be a toss up. But no, 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 no. Not in this neighborhood. It is not, sir. Good, thank you.
Yeah, I like the Ohio State Twitter HOA. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's I mean, you go back to when John Cooper was fired, and people talking about what's a real reasonable expectation for John Cooper's successor, and the answer was win the Michigan game every other year. Can you beat Michigan every other year? Win the Big Ten every 2 to 3 years, maybe every 4 years, something like that. That was kind of what the expectation was. And, maybe you're competing for a national championship once a decade. That's what the expectation was 20 years ago. And, win more than half of the Michigan games. If Ohio State won 6 of the next 10 Michigan games, Ohio State fans might jump off the roof. Like that would be considered a disaster right now. If they win 7 of the next 10, people might freak out. It's just, the expectations around the program have changed. And I think if you go back 20 years, you're going to see a lot of people talking in the early 2000s about how Jim Tressel has turned it into a golden era for Ohio State football because they've beaten Michigan 4 out of 5 years and they won the national championship. And now Ohio State has won 4 out of the last 5 Michigan games. And people are going, whoa, 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 whoa. How, what's wrong? Why, how is everything gone so terribly wrong? And I mean, that is kind of reminiscent of when Ryan Day took the job at first, and Urban Meyer talking to him about hey, listen, all you got to do is never lose. never win close, graduate all your players, not have anyone get in trouble, win the national championship. All right, go get him, Tiger. Like that, and like that's it. Oh, is that all? Is that all I need to do? Okay, great. And add on the transfer portal now and the NIL stuff now that is all new since the Urban Meyer Ryan Day transition. And it's like, oh boy, is that all you need to do? How hard can it possibly be?
Yeah, that's all. I mean, it's all laid out very clearly for you. So like none of this is a surprise. Tom, anything else from today that you wanted to touch on?
I think the only other thing that was kind of interesting was Kevin Warren, the Big Ten commissioner, talked a little bit about conference expansion and realignment. And, he's not going to say, here's my shopping list. I want to get Notre Dame, and then I want to get Oregon, and then I want to get North Carolina. Like, he's not going to say that. But he did talk about the fact that they are still open to expanding. And, they're not, that's not probably going to happen in the next week, but they are very much open to expanding if the right fit comes in. They're not, desperate to add someone. They're not going to add Syracuse just to add someone else. But if the right fit comes along, they are very much open to adding someone else. And, he talked about the fact that we're sort of at a moment in the middle of what's probably about a 5-year window, a 5-year timeline to have all this stuff happen. And, 5 years right now, as people are thinking, is Notre Dame going to join next week? 5 years sounds like a long time. But, when you consider that Ohio State, USC and UCLA are joining in 2024, that's 2 years from now. So that deal's already done and they're still joining 2 years from now. So, a team joining 5 years from now, that might, it might take a year to get that announced. And then maybe it takes a little longer for the deal to go through or whatever. And, there's going to be a shuffling of teams. And I think the thing that kind of made me kind of raise an eyebrow on that was if there is an addition of more teams, then potentially 5 years from now, you are in the 2 super conferences kind of era of college football. And, the SEC has added 2 more or 4 more or whatever the number is. And the Big Ten has added 2 more or 4 more or whatever the number is. And then you've got a whole different sport. And when you say, we may have a whole different sport and that's a 5-year window. Well, that sounds very different than, just this, sort of there's a 5-year, window for some of this stuff to happen. So I thought was kind of interesting as well.
Yeah, he said they're not going to expand just to expand. They're not going to add teams just to add teams. That's fine, but I bet if the SEC adds teams, the Big Ten will add teams to add teams. They will revisit then. Once Notre Dame decides what they're going to do, obviously Ohio State or the Big Ten would add an odd number of teams after that Notre Dame edition to stay even. But that will do it for us today. Tom, for the people who maybe haven't caught up to your new morning show.
That is a tremendous plug. Thank you very much.
No, I don't need you to talk about it. I was just pointing it out. Maybe people don't know about it. Anyway, That will do.
Yes, the new morning show. If you enjoy hearing Ohio State football talk for 15 to 20 minutes a morning, knowing how many days there are till the next Ohio State game, knowing how many days there are till the Michigan game, these types of things that people get attached to over time. You can find a entirely new morning show, Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning, and it should be on pretty much any podcast platform that you listened to the previous iteration of the morning show on. Again, Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning. And, just like the website, there are going to be a familiar and comforting, rotation of guests whose names and faces and voices, and, doing all the morning show stuff that we've done for the last couple of years, just a new spot. So you will have to resubscribe there. And one thing, that will help us with the YouTube channel, one thing that will help us with the podcast, you subscribe, leave us a 5-star rating and review on the podcast. You're just going to have to take the 600 or so episodes of track record and just trust me on this. It's going to be a pretty similar show. So if you like the previous one, you'll probably like this one. So leave a 5-star rating review. That will help other folks find the shows, kind of bump it up the search ratings or search rankings and all that kind of stuff. Because we are obviously trying to make sure we find all of the people who are looking for us and don't know where to find us. That will be one way you can help us do that. And then the YouTube channel, when you see one of our videos, hit that thumbs up, like the video, and also hit that bell, subscribe to the channel, so you make sure you get notified every time we post something, because we're heading into the busy season. So we're going to be posting a whole bunch of stuff, and it's super fun when you watch the stuff. That's kind of why we do this. As a matter of fact, we do these shows so you can listen. We do these shows so you can watch, and hopefully you enjoy. So please watch and enjoy.
I just want to thank you for referring to me in part as comforting and familiar. Tom, that means a lot. It has been a long time since it has been almost 3 weeks since we've recorded anything together. Recorded this show together. We've done the morning show a couple of times, but that will do it for this episode. Thank you all for sticking with us, for waiting on us, for coming back to us, and for just reaching out. However you did it, we saw everything. Couldn't get back to everybody, but really, really did appreciate all of that. So thank you all very much. We will talk to you again very, very soon. Have a good one.